I don't know. There's all kinds of great Dave stories. Some of them are related to architecture and some of them aren't.
Welcome to Subject to Change and Dave Stories.
We got to talking one day, and I told him I had graduated RPI, and he says, "Oh, I got a story to tell you." He says, "Back when I was on the force, we had some incident where this RPI student had written a letter from his dog." And did you ever hear the story, Jody?
No, I
No.
haven't heard the story.
So an RPI student had written a letter. It was actually from his dog. Dog's name was Fillmore, and he had Fillmore was walking with his master down the road, and there was somebody that had burglarized a house, and Fillmore and his master ran after this person, and the cops came and thought that it was Fillmore and the master that had robbed the house. So they threw the master down in the snow and drew a gun and put the gun against the master's head and said he was going to blow his fucking brains out. And this is all from Fillmore describing this thing. And Bob's telling me this story. He says, yeah, this was an RPI student that wrote this thing. And then he wrote this to the chief of police, and the chief of police sent it out to all the cops. And all the cops had to read it, and it was posted on everything, on every board, and every cop was made to read it. So I said, well, Bob, guess what? That was me. I couldn't believe it. It was something like 25 years later or something like that.
God.
And I forgot all about that. I completely forgot about it until he brought it up. And here we are out in the Maxon Road in Petersburg.
All right, so there are a couple of
I have
questions.
a lot of questions.
like a story that you made just to tweak the cops, or did something happen that you?
Oh, that happened.
That happened.
Why would anybody bring a dog to burglarize a house?
No, I was walking the dog.
No, I know, but like, why would they ever think it was somebody who was walking a dog? Like,
Oh.
why would that make any sense?
Yeah, no, I suggested that to the cop that threw me down. My dog is running around, licking the cop and all this. That guy was out of his mind. And I asked, I said to Bob West, I said, that cop was nuts. He was just crazy. He wasn't listening. He was screaming at me, and I thought I was going to get shot because he pushed it right up against my head. And he said, do you remember the name of him? And I said, yeah, I remember his name. I'll never forget it. And Bob said, he was kicked off the force for beating up his wife a few years later.
Oh my God, Dave.
I was just a nutcase.
Yeah.
I can't believe you went through that. So that's the first thing. I can't believe you went through that. Second of all, I can't believe your dog was that eloquent to write a note to the cops. That's
yeah, he's a smart dog.
And third, I can't believe that Bob ended up being your neighbor and you ended up saying this to him. Now, Lauren, just to let you know, Bob was a little bit whacked on occasion too. He packed his own shotgun shells and he got up one morning at like 4:30 or 5 o'clock because he was pissed that the newspaper delivery boy would come up the hill so fast. So he waited in the middle of the road with his shotgun to aim it at the newspaper delivery boy as he came up the hill just to get him to slow the heck down.
Yeah.
And when we were cleaning our yard and digging out some dirt, we all of a sudden hit something that started to hiss. And it turns out that Bob had buried all of his garbage from the entire time he had lived there in the yard. And we had hit a can of Fix-A-Flat that was buried along with an electric fry pan and a whole bunch of other stuff, including like some antifreeze that made one of our cats sick. So like...
Did you dig it all up?
Huh? Oh, we cleaned it all up. We actually called the DEC to find out what we should do. And they were like, if you want a lot of paperwork, tell us more. And we said, okay, thanks.
He was a character. We had this conversation one time. We said, Bob, you and I, we would have absolutely hated each other's guts if we knew each other 20 years ago. And it's true. We were completely opposite. I mean,
your life gives you a little perspective, but you're still a hippie, Dave. It's just the way it is. We have a mobile home that's down the hill. We own 12 acres of land down the hill from where Dave is. And we have a mobile home there, and we're planning to renovate it and do something with the roof. And
yeah, there's some dings in the roof.
From your golf balls?
We would drive golf balls from my house, and every once in a while we go, uh-oh, wait, and then we'd hear the ping.
Yeah,
Well, luckily they weren't home, so they don't know about it.
right. We don't know about it.
Eric would come up with a bag of golf balls, and we'd like, oh boy.
Are these yours? The one with the zip line, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have acreage or something then, or at least a lot of land.
Yeah, about 50 acres here.
Just a little.
Well,
And
Well-
you've got a pond that has a zip line for it?
Yeah, right outside the window. I can't quite get to it from the window, though. I have to go outside and climb a ladder up in the tree to get to the zip line. But
That's cool.
yeah, it's a fun activity. I originally built it with my son, and we still use it. You know, it's 300 feet long. In the first 100 feet, you're holding on for dear life. But if my insurance agent ever sees this thing, it's just hypothetical. You know, this is one of those things that isn't real.
I started working for Dave a long time ago, 25 years ago, 26 years ago. And I was working out there, but Martin and I were living in town in Latham. And so I would drive out there and work for Dave, and Martin dropped me off once, I think, to work there. And on the way, we had dropped our cat off at the vet because my cat wasn't doing well. And then I got a call at Dave's from the vet, and they were horrible. They said, "We're really sorry your cat has died. When are you picking her up?" And so Dave was there to comfort me. I was a wreck because this is a cat I had had since I was 16. And then we drove. He was comforting me, and then I got a call from Martin that he was driving to pick up the cat and then would come to get me in Petersburg, and our car died between the vet and Petersburg with the dead cat in the back seat and a shovel in the trunk because we were going to bury her in Petersburg. So Dave calmly got in his car, and we drove to rescue Martin and the car and Tabitha. And it was a blown head gasket. So Dave went back to his car and got some chewing gum and something else and came back and said, "Let's fix it." And Martin had never met Dave before, and I was confused and emotional, and I was like, "What's going on?" And he said, "Well, we're going to try and fix it with this bubble gum, or I have some weather stripping in the car. That might work." And we're like, "You can do that?" He goes, "No, but if we can, it would make a great story." And that, like, everything is like that. No, it didn't work. He's right. 25 years later, it's still a great story, right?
Thanks for joining us at Subject to Change. And great thanks to Dave Sadowsky, retired architect and always inventive in mind and spirit and friendships.